My name is Professor Lisa-Dionne Morris. I am the founder and director of the Black Female Academics Network.
Well said. I'm Carl Beckford, Dr. Carl Beckford from the University of the West Indies in the Department of Computing, where my specialty is advancing technologies in communication.
I'm Ricardo Anderson. I work at the University of the West Indies, where I research intelligent systems and teach data science and software engineering.
And my name is Sean Miller, and I'm also from the University of the West Indies. I'm a lecturer, and my area is cybersecurity and machine learning.
Okay, so I'm just going to introduce you guys because I work with you researchers from the University of the West Indies, Mona campus. I'm going to add that one, from the Faculty of Science and Technology, where I am a visiting professor. So people often ask me, what do academics and professorial do? One of the things that we do is collaborate and engage with partners and become, hopefully, by the grace of God, partners and collaborators with visiting professorships. So this is about what people do, such as Black female professors, when they get to professorial level and how they engage with other universities and other university staff. And I'm going to explain and hopefully give the opportunity to explain our collaboration, the way we work together and what we do.
Right.
So I'm going to start with saying thank you, gentlemen, firstly for putting up with me for this length of time, and also for engaging me in some really interesting topics of conversation when it comes to research and research design. So firstly, tell me about the University of the West Indies, Ricardo.
Well, top 3% university in the world. Shall I start?
Keep going.
Yes, an excellent place where ideas converge. University of the West Indies is a multi-campus university, and we have both landed campuses and what we call the global campus.
Okay.
And that the global campus can be accessed from anywhere, which is good because there are many who would like to experience what we teach there, especially in some niche areas that are specific to us, things like small island and developing states issues and climate change and others. Now, the university serves around about 18,000 persons at the Mona campus, and every campus has its own student population, although we have a central administration. But it's a place where I've spent most of my academic life as a student and now as a teacher and researcher. And it provides the opportunity for me to explore ideas that are important to the peoples of the Caribbean region, because that's part of our thrust, to make sure that we serve the peoples of the Caribbean, because we are there to serve them and be relevant to our context. And so, especially now, when there are so many challenges within our region, it's very important for us to step up, and the university has almost transitioned into what we call an activist university, as our Vice Chancellor would be proud that I remember that.
Statements, headline statements, yeah, I like it.
An activist university, and so it is really aligned and in tune with the community, and it's seeking to do that. And hopefully, I think it's a shared vision, although I don't work directly in that area, but we hopefully can rescue cricket in the region, because
I don't know.
An academy
I
of
don't
sports. and
resuscitate cricket.
Yeah.
Resuscitate,
and technology is an important part of that, and maybe since we have many common interests across collaborative groupings, especially with the University of Leeds, there are many things that I believe can come out of this, and what we're doing here, I think, is an excellent start to that. It shows great promise, and of course, it's addressing the issues related to our people, and that's most important.
I find that interesting when you say our people. So from being an academic in the UK, we're born in the UK, we don't see this. We don't see Black male academics, doctors, senior academics. And we don't see Black female academics. So when I go to the University of the West Indies, I'm just surrounded by excellence,
Right.
diaspora excellence. and it feels great. So let me ask you, how does it feel to be a Black male academic?
What does it feel to be?
Yeah, and it's a feel. I don't know, how would you think? Because people are always asking me, how does it feel? What do you think? And we're in the UK, but you are in the West Indies, surrounded by that continuous excellence. And I want to know what that feels like.
So, it's a very interesting question because I've never thought about it as something unique, probably because I'm surrounded by academics like myself. So, as you say, I'm not in the UK where most persons don't look like I do, and in the Caribbean where we have a Dr. Beckford, a Dr. Anderson, we all look the same, and I wouldn't be able to put a feel into it. It's more, this is life. This is what we work for. This is what we are passionate about. We get the opportunity to look into matters that we find interesting. I mean, most of the persons I work with, if not all, this is what they want to do. So it's not driven by, I want to be called a doctor, there's some sort of prestige. There's really just a love for this type of work, looking into matters that no one else have looked into, trying to help, as Ricardo said, the region with issues that are relevant to us. So I've never really thought about what it feels like to be an academic. It almost seems like I was born an academic.
Interesting.
No, really, to be honest. So yeah.
So Sean was born an academic. Okay. Were you born an academic, or did you just raised to be one?
I still not born. And with Sean, that feeling, I tell you, I did not get the feeling of being a Black academic until I began attending these conferences. And then I noticed that I was mainly surrounded by another look and feel, really. And it's only then when I'm there, I'm beginning to think, oh, okay. And after a few conferences, I begin to feel like, wow, it is good to even at my university, a Black academic here amidst in this space, representing my team, I call it. So it was. But let's get back to the question, was I born? Not born academic. In fact, I didn't even know that I would have lived in academia after I had done my bachelor's and master's. I went out to work. I went up through the ranks as programmer, analyst. It really was, when I became manager, I decided to come back to do research. In fact, my supervisor then reached out to me and said, Colin, I think you would? So I told my company when I was leaving it at the time, I was leaving it. I said, all right. They said, yes, when you get that PhD, we have a place for you. But then the research bound caught me, why I can't do it. And I became academically right. I just switched because then that idea of building things and finding solutions, recommending, designing, and yes, something which doesn't exist.
Do you feel the pressure of being in academia and what that looks like for you? And where are your pressure points? I know what that looks like to me.
I think the space that you operate in creates those scenarios for feeling the pressure. I think that we do have ideals, we do have things that we need to meet in terms of our roles in our institution. But you find that in certain parts of the world, and certainly in the Caribbean, you are more looked at as someone of value that needs to be nurtured and protected, in my view.
Okay.
And you don't come dime a dozen. And so as much as you're expected to produce, you are a specialist and you are one of few.
Okay.
And so the pressure points tend to come, I think, more from society, that the university or the department as a collective needs to make sure they're responsive to societal needs and doing things that are relevant. And so sometimes that might come off as you're at a university. How is what you are doing impacting the things that are problematic, that the governments of the region are supporting the university with budget need solutions too.
Okay. Yeah. Budgets need solutions. Solutions need budgets.
Right. And I recall actually a conversation some years ago when the university started to look into ways of being financially viable and stable, and they went to the government with some plans, And I think one of the senior persons said when they went to the government with a request for help, they said, "But you are the guys who should be helping us, I mean, you are the fount of knowledge. You are the universe of ideas, right?
Yes.
And so we are looking to you to help us as Caribbean peoples, as Caribbean governments, to get ourselves out of the current state of constraint into prosperity."
So one of the things that we must do, and this is part of what we're doing with the University of Leeds and the University of the West Indies, is collaboration and partnerships. And many times, specifically Black females come to me and say, how do we network? And how do we collaborate? And how do we reach out? Tell me how easy it is as a Black male trying to reach out and collaborate. And I'll tell you how easy it is as a Black female trying to reach out and collaborate. So tell me how it feels to you, what that landscape of collaboration feels like to you.
Collaboration, I've had different experiences trying to collaborate. And so I would say it is sometimes like a stone wall to try and get even someone to listen, but common ideas, common settings tend to spark conversations. And one of the things I've tried to do is to manage my expectations and identify that, sometimes you are on a path to try and find people who have common interests, but of 10, one will emerge.
Okay.
And that's a success for me just the same. But for me, I've found much value in the kind of thing that is being done between the University of the West Indies and the University of Leeds, particularly with the initiatives that you have spearheaded, because what that has done is to provide a kind of foundation upon which even myself could then build, because I can then through a simple email, a simple conversation that I'm introduced, I automatically stand on your shoulders as a giant, so that it provides opportunities, and for me, I've benefited tremendously from that.
So I appreciate that. That's one of the things that when it's easy to collaborate is when I know the uniqueness of your skills. So I'm going to ask you, Carl, what makes you so unique?
What makes Carl Beckford
Dr. Carl Beckford
so unique? Let's speak first, Carl Beckford person.
Okay.
I think what makes me unique is wanting to, this is some cliche, but let's have it, change the world around me. That really means that world doesn't even have to be academia. It's really what things are out there that could change, could be better. So I found that that's the focus I had even before I came back in academia. And I remember that I was being given some tasks and I would go on Google and find out that I'm not finding any examples. So I'm of that era. And I found that I had to be creating standards just to make it work. I found that therefore, when I came to academia, remember the bug, that research bug, because then I could explore the idea of putting things and putting these things. So I think that might be one of the things that will make me different. Well, I think, and of course, I'm in the era of, I call it educational technologies. I remember even when I was in the PhD and they were trying to find a defense for my work, because I had done research in computer science, but yet I had crossed over and had learned all the learning technologies in education. It was difficult for them to find a professor in the two areas. And I think that also makes me unique in a way.
Okay, I hear you, definitely your uniqueness. You're at the beginning of your academic journey. It's considered to be an early career researcher. Mm-hmm. How does that feel? And what's your vision and strategies for getting to professorial?
Well, How does it feel? Well, it really feels like you have a long road ahead of you. It feels like there's a lot of work to be done, not only to solve the problems that you want to solve, but to, in essence, prove yourself.
Okay.
In essence, prove yourself. And for me, it's a challenge that I want to take up, because I'm not simply doing stuff to get paid or doing stuff to just get a promotion. It's actually doing stuff that I want to do with added benefit. So the added benefit is promotion, professorial. So it's like, yeah, that's how it feels to me. And as it relates to making progress, and one of the things that my supervisor always told me was to ensure that I keep focus. And I realized that
A big one.
that is crucial. That is crucial, that you actually know exactly what your area is, what you are willing to do and what you're not willing to do. So for example, I know that my area, the thing that I can speak on, has to do with machine learning and cybersecurity. If it does not have either one of those, I'm not even going to try and pursue a project there, because there are a lot of things to do.
Yes.
There are a lot of things. I remember somebody, I think it was one of my lecturers during graduate school. I was explaining to him, nearing my defense, and I explained to him, I don't feel like a PhD. I don't even feel like a PhD candidate. And he was explaining to me that, imagine this table. It was an actual table. He said, imagine this table as the world of knowledge.
Yeah.
This spectre right here is your PhD. This is what you are focusing on. You know, you're not trying to learn everything. You're trying to add value to this spectre. You are not God.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how I look at it. And to the path to promotion and becoming a professor, it's focus for me.
Okay.